Facebook right now on Zoom with Bob Burg, the famous Bob Burg. Hi, how are you, sir? It's so great to have you on.
Great to have you on. Wow, what a pleasure. What an honor.
Well, welcome to Gamechangers Live. So my name is Sergio Tigera. I'm a speaker, consultant, and coach. And with me today is Mr. Bob Burg. And if you haven't heard of him, I'm sure you have. He is the co-author of the Go Giver series, which has had such an impact on so many people's lives around the world. If you haven't read this book, you need to pick this up because it is a game changer. Bob is a sought-after speaker at company leadership sales conferences, sharing the platform with many business leaders around the world, broadcast personalities, even a former U.S. president. Who was that?
Well, that was Gerald Ford, which was a little before your time and many of the people watching, but I'm an old guy, so.
Hey, it counts, it counts. And so, Bob is the author of a number of books on sales, marketing, and influence. His total book sales of well over 1 million copies, which is insane. I mean, that's what an accomplishment. The book, The Go Giver, has been co-authored with John David Mann. Itself, just that book has sold over 950,000 copies, and it's been translated into 28 languages. Unbelievable. He's an advocate, supporter, and defender of the free enterprise system, believing that the amount of money one makes is directly proportional to how many people they serve. And that's a key part of this discussion today, is about serving and providing value to people. So Bob, welcome to the show, my friend. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Really, likewise. And I'm so impressed with everything you've done and everything I've heard about you from a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah. Berta Medina. I want to give her a shout out. Berta Medina.
I just love her. And she spoke so highly of you. I couldn't wait to learn more about you, and very impressive.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. So let's start off. I want to hear a little bit about your life, kind of how you were raised, how this idea of the book came about. I mean, were these things that your parents instilled in you, these lessons? Because these are some timeless lessons, but the way you put it into the book is very different. But tell me a little bit about your background, how where you were raised, and how you got to be where you are today.
Well, very fortunate to have two great parents. And so I got to just see how they acted with others, treated others, how they related to others. And, people who really went out of their way to bring value to others. And so I got to see that, and I got to model that. So that was fortunate. When I first got into sales, of course, I had no idea of, I had no experience in terms of formal selling. I mean, we all did those things when we were kids and so forth. But, I started out as a broadcaster, actually. So I was first in radio and then in television. I was the late night news guy for a very, very small ABC network affiliate in the Midwestern United States. I really wasn't very good at it. So I like to say I graduated into sales. The challenge was, again, not having any formal sales experience, and the training, I'll put air quotes around the word training, where I first worked was, pretty much non-existent. So wow. I was on my own, in other words.
Yeah.
And, there are people who can invent a wheel. Okay. That's not me. I can follow what someone else has done, right? Learn it and then apply it, but I'm not going to be the one that innovates it. I don't have that kind of mind. So, and I didn't know there was any kind of methodology. So again, for the first few months, I was floundering. Fortunately, one day when I was in a bookstore, and this is again about 40 years ago or so, I came across two books. One was by Tom Hopkins and one was by Zig Ziglar. And those are two of the real legends in the sales and personal development field. And I got their books. And first I was amazed there were actually books on selling. Now, again, today we just take it for granted, right? I mean, they're just they're so prevalent. Back then, who knew about those? Yeah. But I started I'd come home after work, and from dinner on, I would just study those books. I would read and reread and highlight and underline and note take and dog ear and practice and drill and rehearse and so forth. Well, within a few weeks, my sales really began to go through the roof.
Wow.
And so again, this was very encouraging. What it told me is, if you have a methodology, not one you had to have invented, but one that other people already knew.
Right.
Okay? if you had this methodology, you could accomplish basically what you wanted to accomplish. It's really following a system. Now, to this day, I would personally define a system as simply the process of predictably achieving a goal based on a logical and specific set of how-to principles. The key being predictability.
Predictability, exactly.
Right. If it's been determined or proven that by doing A, you'll get the desired results of B, you know that all you need to do is A and continue to do A and continue to do A, and eventually you'll get the desired results of B. So that was very encouraging to me. I started buying up all the books on sales I could and getting the, and again, here's another anachronism, cassette tape albums.
Yeah, yep.
I could buy, and
I was there.
Yeah, you were? Well, that's hard to believe.
Tapes, yeah.
Okay, but and so I also came to realize very quickly that it wasn't just about the learning sales, as important as that was. It was really about personal development. It was growing yourself on the inside.
Correct.
So I started getting all the books that that I'm sure you have, and many of your viewers have. The How to Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, As a Man Thinketh, The Magic of Thinking Big, Psycho-Cybernetics, just all the great classics, and started really studying. And I got hooked. I mean, I just love the whole process. And then when you place that together with bringing a really great product or service to someone, it makes it really a joy to be able to to be in the profession of sales.
Yeah. And isn't that true? Is that everything in life, all our results really start on the inside first, right? And so even though it's a book on sales, that's all just the result of changing the way we think on the inside, our own self-worth, how we carry ourselves, and how we present ourselves going forward with people. I'm actually going to be speaking with Tom Ziglar, Zig's son, next week on this show. So that's fantastic. So
tell Tom that Brother Bob said hello.
I will for sure. And so let's get into a little bit about the 5 laws, right? And in the Go Giver. Because I think that's where the meat of it resides. Tell me a little bit about these 5 laws and how did you kind of coalesce these together as these are the ones that have worked for me, and let me impart these on others. How did that come about?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And it begins when you think about the basic premise that it revolves around, and that is simply that shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, understanding that doing so is not only a more pleasant way of conducting business, it's the most financially profitable way as well. And not for some way out there woo-woo type of just feel good reasons, magical, mystical, no, it actually makes very logical sense, very practical sense. When you're that person who can move your focus off of yourself and place it onto others, looking for ways to make their lives better, more fulfilling, happier, helping solve their problems, but what have you, people feel good about you. People want to get to know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to tell others about you. So
now
that go ahead.
I'm sorry. And about that, especially in this time where people feel kind of insecure because maybe they've lost their job and they think that giving is all about financial, and they said I can't even pay my bills. How am I going to give to someone? But giving your time, giving your attention, there's so many different ways to give, right?
Absolutely. And that's really what it's all about. It doesn't have to be, financial, this time, attention, counsel, education, empathy, friendship and connections and information and, whatever that other person would find to be of value. So that's really where it all begins. And John David Mann, my awesome co-author, and John is, because the Go Giver series, 3 of the 4 books are parables. So they're stories. And John is a remarkable writer and storyteller. He's the lead writer. storyteller, right? I'm a how-to guy, right? I'm step one, step two, step three. But John is a magnificent writer. So we collaborated on it, and it was really what both of us saw in our own life. You know, John's a very successful entrepreneur in his own right. So he and I have for years, and he's even a little older than I am. So for many years, we both studied success on individual career paths. And, you know, there are certain things that when people do them, and they do them constantly and consistently, they're going to increase the odds of being successful in the ways that they choose to be successful. But when they do less of them, well, it's less of them are going to happen. And so, you know, because it's interesting because people say, well, so is the moral of this story the go-giver that, you know, nice guys, nice gals, nice people finish first? And actually, that's not the story. That's not the moral of the story. Because while it's wonderful to be nice, and when I say nice, I'm using that interchangeably with kind. The two aren't always the same. Someone can act nice in order to manipulate a person, but that's not kind. But even using them at both, you know, interchangeably. It's great to be nice for its own sake. It's also good business because, hey, you know, most people would rather do business with someone nice as opposed to someone nasty.
Sure.
But it's not enough. Because, you know, let's face it, you and I and everyone watching, we all know plenty of people, or at least some people, who we would describe as being simply nice people.
Yeah.
We would also describe as being simply broke people.
Sure.
So while it's a great thing to be in and of itself, and it is helpful, in and of itself, that's not enough to be successful. Success is a matter of doing the correct things in the success process that allows a person to be successful and finish first, if you will. And those 5 principles are what John and I kind of took and put together in this book. There is nothing new about these laws, about these principles, right? They've been around since time immemorial, certainly as long as there have ever been market economies, right? And successful people have always tapped into them, though they didn't always know that's what they were doing. Sometimes.
Right. And then the manner in which it's presented, it really makes an impact because you can almost put yourself in the shoes of the character as if you're going to see Pindar, you know.
Because we've all been Joe or Josephine, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. And since, you know, we're always, you know, chasing money, so to speak, right? It's kind of chasing the wrong thing. And when you provide value to people, you know that when somebody provides value to you, you almost feel the urge to give it back, right? To give back to them. And I think that's where the synergy lies there, right? When you give immense value to people, they feel that
it's also in their best interest too, for example, you know, when I speak at a sales conference, I'll often begin by saying, nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet.
That's right.
Right? They're not going to buy from you because you need the money. And they're not even going to buy from you because you're a really nice person who believes in what you do. They're going to buy from you because they believe that they will be better off by doing so than by not doing so. And in a free market-based economy, which is what we live in, and when I say free market, I simply mean no one is forced to do business with anyone else, right? So in a free market-based economy, they're only going to buy from you for that reason, and that's the only reason why they should buy from me or from you or from anyone else, because they believe they'll benefit. Why else would they buy? But that's good news, because it means the entrepreneur or salesperson who can move their focus again off themselves and look at serving the other person. What is selling? When you think about it, selling is simply discovering what the other person wants, needs, or desires, and helping them to get it.
That's right.
Right. That's why it's sure, people want to do business with you when they know, and it's in their best interest to do so. So yeah, and that's why we say there's nothing magical about this. It's actually very logical when you think about it. And so the 5 laws that you asked about are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. And the law of value is really, while all the laws are equally important, the law of value is really that foundational.
Yeah, the cornerstone.
Yeah, they ate the cornerstone. Exactly. Well said. Exactly, the cornerstone. And you know what it says is that that your true worth in the business sense, of course, your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Now, when you first hear this, that's sort of counterintuitive, right? Give more in value than I take in payment. That sounds all nice.
I'm losing money. I'm not gonna make any
losing
business.
money. Right, it's a recipe for bankruptcy, for goodness sakes, right? So we simply have to understand the difference between price and value.
That's right.
Price is a dollar figure. It's a dollar amount. It's finite. It is what it is, right? Value, on the other hand, is the relative worth or desirability of a thing, of something, to the end user or beholder. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, what have you, that brings so much worth to another person, so much worth, so much value, that they will willingly exchange their money for it and be ecstatic that they did. And, I often just use an example, just a very surface example of this, which is, if you were to hire an accountant to do your taxes and she charged you $1,000, that's her fee, literally her price, $1,000. But what value is she providing you that makes it so worthwhile for you? Well, through her experience, her years of study, her hard work, her desire to get to know you and what you're looking to accomplish and the intricacies of your business, she's able to save you $5,000 in taxes. She also saves you countless hours of time, and she provides you and your family with the security and the peace of mind of knowing it was done correctly, right? So she has given you well over $5,000, well over that in value, in exchange for $1,000 fee. So she gave you more in value than she took in payment. So you feel great about it. And she also made a very healthy profit, because if she didn't, she wouldn't have chosen to do it. To her, it was worth leasing out her time and expertise and experience for that $1,000. In fact, one of my old mentors, Harry Brown, used to say, in a free market-based exchange, again, meaning no one's forced to do business with anyone else. In a free market-based exchange, there are always two profits, the buyer profits and the seller profits, because each of them come away better off afterwards.
That's right.
Than they were beforehand.
That's right. We're here with Bob Burg, the best-selling co-author of The Go-Giver. If you're just joining us here on Facebook Live, make sure to go out and read that. We're talking about value. We're talking about compensation, influence, authenticity, receptivity, the 5 laws in the Go-Giver book. And we're digging deeper into how these concepts are applied, especially today in this world. Now, tell me a little bit about, so I read the Go-Giver Leader, and that I love that book as well. And that's a fantastic parlay from the Go-Giver into the leadership. How does it apply in the leadership role? And one of the things that really stood out to me was about taking leadership versus giving leadership, and how in the story, the giving leadership was about upholding your people, right? And lifting your people up. How important is that right now in business and just in general, not even now, but just, for effective leadership, right?
Well, that it's now been proven for so long that type of leadership is not only more benevolent, but much more profitable, right?
Correct.
And the old command and control. And yet, it's so when you see all these studies that say that 75% of corporate employees feel disengaged from their, and you think, why should that ever have to be? There's a beautiful book that was written by a gentleman by the name of Bob Chapman called Everybody Matters. And he is the chairman and CEO of a company called Barry Waymiller. It's an international manufacturing firm based in St. Louis. And, you talk about what you would think of as just a very generic commodity-based type of situation, a manufacturing firm. You think, if anybody can get away with command and control, that would be it. But no, what he has done is he has built a team. He's really built a family of tens of thousands of people. And they feel valued, and they feel special, and they know their work has meaning, and they have autonomy, and they have the chance to grow, and they have relationships. And, that's leadership. And his company is so very profitable, and they have weathered the tough times. I mean, it's very inspiring. If you get a chance to read his book, Everybody Matters by Bob Chapman, he was actually highlighted in Simon Sinek's wonderful book, Leaders Eat Last, although I'd actually read Bob Chapman's book before I had read Simon's. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. And, there's just no reason anymore for any leader to not know this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough good books out there that really show step by step how to be a leader. And books by John Maxwell and books by there's just so many out there that you think, wow, how can they not know this?
Yeah, and, we've all worked. I think everyone out there has worked for a terrible leader, and all have worked for an amazing leader. And how they make you feel is the biggest thing, right? It's just how they make you feel, and they actually lift you up, and they believe in you. And that's another thing that we're talking about in that story, about how when you place a belief in people, many people don't see what you can see, as their potential, right? And when you believe in them, their level just rises like the tide.
Yeah. We base that part off of a very famous quote by Winston Churchill, known as obviously a wonderful leader. And what he had said is the best way to give someone a virtue is to impute it to them. So in other words, even if they don't even know they have that virtue, even if they don't have it, if they're not expressing it right now, give that virtue to them.
Yeah.
Let them live up to it, and you'll be surprised how often. Now, every time, no, of course not. Life is life, and that doesn't, but you'd be surprised how often you impute a virtue to someone and nurture that. Okay. And you can't, it's not just a matter of one, hey, you're this, that, no, but that you stay on this and you help them develop. They'll come through. They'll become that.
That's right.
Because they do have it inside them.
That's right. We all have so much more potential inside than we bring about every day, right? And so, talk to me about when we talk about authenticity, right? I think one of the lessons that we talked about in the book that you spoke about in the book, was your self-worth. And your self-worth is the best thing that you can give to somebody. Your full authentic self, 100% of you. And, you don't have to improve. You got to just be yourself. And that is good enough, right?
Well, Deborah Davenport was the mentor in that part of the story. And she really shared a lesson that was very important to her in her career. And I think it is a very important lesson. And that is all the skills in the world, the sales skills, technical skills, people skills, as important as those are. And they're all indeed very, very important. They're also all for naught if you don't come at it from your true authentic core. But when you do, as we like to say, show up as yourself day after day, week after week, month after month, people feel good about you, right? People feel safe with you. They feel comfortable with you. There's a consistency there, which people crave, right? And in order to trust another, you have to know that they're reliable in that way, right? And so they know you show up the same way, day after day, week after week, month after month. And they know you, they like you, they love you, they trust you. They're much more likely to want to be in a relationship with you. So it's important to ask the question, why then, if being authentic is so good for business, which it is, why do some people then show up not authentically, right? Well, why do they come across as or show up as a, I guess the correct Latin term would be phonus balonus, right? Right? Someone who's not, and we might think, well, they're dishonest, or they're trying to pull one over on us, or there's all sorts of people in the world. We've got to recognize that, but not usually. 99.99 times out of 100, when someone is not showing up authentically, it's typically because they just don't have the self-confidence to do so.
That's right.
And that's a result of not recognizing their value, right? Now, I think as human beings, we all have two types of value. We have intrinsic value, which means just, as you're saying, just by being a person, we bring value to the table. But we also have what I call market value. And I define market value as that combination of strengths, traits, talents, and characteristics that allow a person to bring value to others, to the marketplace as a whole, to individuals, in such a way that they will be financially rewarded for it. And it's very important that we embrace that, those what Mike Littman called your assets of value, which I always thought was a good term. Because if we really don't understand the value we bring to the table, ourselves and through our products and services, that's when we're going to undersell ourselves. That's when we're going to easily be negotiated down on price, which doesn't really serve anyone. That's when we're going to not have confidence when we're asking for the order, right? That's when and the challenge with recognizing those assets of value we have, because we all have them, is that we're too close to we're human beings. We're emotionally so close to ourselves. It's very difficult to see some of that greatness, that authentic greatness that we have. Even when we've worked hard to perfect a certain skill or to do, we see the world a certain way. We assume everyone else has those same basic experiences. That's very natural. It's just how human beings are built. But it's not true. And that's why, that's why, someone like yourself who can help your clients be able to really see and experience and know what they have. I mean, it's just such a fantastic thing. It's so important. It's so valuable to them to be able to have someone help them to recognize their value. And that's really what authenticity is about. Now, we also need to make sure, though, that we don't confuse authenticity with, well, that's just who I am, take it or leave it. Which is, by the way, a great philosophy if you want to fail in business and not have any friends or any good relationships, but it's not a good philosophy to have if you want the opposite. It's like the person who says, well, I have anger issues and I yell at people a lot and that's just the way I am. And if I was to change, that wouldn't be authentic of me. Baloney, hogwash. It simply means that person has an authentic problem that they need to authentically work on in order to become a better, more authentically higher version of their authentic self. So rather than use authenticity as an excuse for not growing, we use it as a reason to step up into our highest authentic nature.
That's right. That's fantastic, Bob. Now, on that, leading into the next thing then, finding a mentor that will serve you in the right way. And it's what advice would you give to somebody who doesn't have a mentor right now and is looking for one, in terms of selecting somebody who's going to really optimize, that relationship, right? And optimize the results? Because you could have a mentor, it could be your parent, it could be your coach, growing up, where you just kind of, followed them and followed their opinions and accepted their opinions. And maybe those weren't the best ones, and that shaped you to become who you are now, right? So if we're trying to become our best self, how do we find that person who is going to give us that right guidance?
Yeah, and I so agree with you that having a mentor is very important, because the right one can really help cut your learning curve. Now, there are many ways, different types of mentors. Hey, some of my greatest mentors have been in books that,
Right.
whether it's Benjamin Franklin or oh my goodness, I'm trying to, I lost the name of
Pick a book there.
looking for one of the books. Oh my gosh, they were you think of them as the Greco-Romans who had oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
It'll come up. Keep going.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, but I will be thinking of this. You come more up to, whether it's Dale Carnegie or Orison Swett Marden and some of these great teachers and leaders, or it may be someone who you're watching on YouTube and you really admire that person
Hmm.
But there can also be people who, who you would really like to be closer to, and someone who you'd really like their one-on-one, and you'd like their advice. Now, the first thing I would suggest is, and you can tell I'm still trying to think of what I'm trying. The Stoics is what I.
Oh, the Stoics, yeah,
Yeah. And so, so many of them had such immense wisdom. In fact, get some of Ryan Holiday's books on Stoicism.
Okay.
And he's just has some, amazing information that he shares where he delves deep. But the Stoics had some of the most amazing wisdom from, a couple thousand years ago. And
Right.
one of the greatest books, by the way, I ever read was Ben Franklin's autobiography,
Really?
in which he shared information that was really life enhancing for me. And, especially one part where he talked about the 13 character traits that he set out to improve. So, these are people I consider mentors. Booker T. Washington, the founder of Tuskegee University, and his books and his writings. I mean, absolutely brilliant. And so, so again, all these are our mentors, but let's talk about one-on-one mentorship and finding that person. First, I would ask not to be, for a person looking for a mentor, not to be attached to having to find that one mentor who's going to be with you for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years.
Right.
It might happen, but it doesn't have to happen. So don't worry. Don't get
You don't
attached
have to hit the grand slam.
to
Yeah.
that. Right. Exactly. But you can approach anyone. And by the way, my one suggestion would be that if there's someone who you really want to have mentor you, and you don't have a relationship with this person yet, on your first connection with them, don't ask them, hey, would you be my mentor?
Yeah.
Because the chances are
Go
other
out on
people.
the date first.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Go on a date before asking for the marriage. Right. And so the chances are, if you want this person to mentor you, a whole lot of other people do. And a whole lot of people are asking them to be their mentor. And doing that doesn't distinguish you from anyone, but it could have you come across as being entitled, like you just
Needy.
expect,
Yeah.
right? But here's what you can do. You could approach anyone who you admire, who you would want to have mentor you. And you can certainly say, I'm wondering, and if this is not something you either have the time to do or even the inclination to do, I totally understand, and that's certainly fine. I'm wondering if I might ask you one or two very specific questions.
Okay.
Now, when you approach that way, you've done a few things differently and distinguishable from others. First, you did it with humility, not a sense of as though they owe you 40 years of their wisdom when they don't know you, very well. But you also gave them the out or back door. You let them know right up front if this is something that you don't have time to do or just don't choose to do. I totally, absolutely understand. So when we do that, again, that, to the degree that we give a person the out or back door, that's generally the degree they don't feel the need to take that out or back door.
Right.
But here's what you also did, which is very important. You said, may I ask you one or two very specific questions? This tells them two things. One, you're not going to waste their time.
That's right.
You respect their time, right? Also, that you have an agenda. Now, in this case, in this context, when I say an agenda, I mean that in a positive
You have
way.
something in mind. Yeah.
Right? You have something, exactly. You have something in mind. So again, they're not, it puts them in the position where they're not taking a chance of wasting their time with someone who's just, going to pick their brain.
Hasn't thought it through. Yeah.
Right. So when you talk to them, when you meet them, and it could be, again, over the phone, it could be a Zoom call, it could be in person, it could be what have you. You want to make sure to have done as much research, obviously, on this person as possible, so you don't ask them anything, the answer to which you could have easily found on the internet. Okay. So you ask those couple of questions, and you don't take up any more of their time than necessary, and you thank them profusely, let them know how invaluable this is, and you look forward to applying their wisdom right away. And if it's okay, I'll let you know how things are going. And they're going to say, oh yeah, absolutely, sure. Now, that very day, I would write a handwritten, personalized thank you note. Okay, not a long one, but it just says, dear Mr. or dear Ms. So-and-so, or hi, however the relationship's been established. Again, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Your advice to me was invaluable. I look forward to applying it right away, and we'll keep in touch and let you know how things are going. Best regards, sign your name, put it in a regular envelope, a regular stamp, not a meter stamp, but a regular stamp. Send it out that day. I would also find out their favorite charitable cause, which again, you won't ask them, but you'll be able to research that very easily, and make a small, doesn't have to be anything big, just a small donation in their name, that will get back to them. You're not doing it to kiss up. You're doing it in order to, again, communicate that you respect the process and you want to be of value to them, even in some small way. These are the kind of things you do this. You're the kind of person someone like that wants to take under their wing.
That's right.
Wants to mentor you. So, you'll follow up in a couple weeks or a few weeks or whatever it is. And let's say if a mentor protege relationship is supposed to evolve, it will. If not, it won't. It might have been that was the one or two times you're going to talk. It might be someone else or someone else. Who knows? But that's really how you go about it in a way that you increase the chances of a really good result.
That's great advice. Let me tell you, very, very specific advice with the 2 questions. And then I love the touch at the end with the note and the donation in their name to their charity. That's fantastic, because I'm sure so few people do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So Bob, what are you working on right now? What's cooking in your organization right now? What are the hot things going on?
Well, there are a couple of things. We have a team of certified Go-Giver speakers, and so that's something that we've been building. My business partner Kathy Tigera and I over the last few years. So that's very, very exciting. We also have a new course that's out called Endless Referrals: The Go-Giver Way, which is an online learning course, a 9.5-hour full boat course. And then we have just released in the last week a 4-video free mini course called Selling the Go-Giver Way.
Nice.
So we're having a lot of fun with it and trying to put some value out there into the world and work along that way.
Exactly. Now, how can people get certified if they wanted to become a certified Go-Giver speaker or take these courses?
Yeah, they could go to, if they wanted to look at becoming a speaker, they could go to gogiverspeaker.com. I'm trying to multitask, which I usually don't do, and I certainly don't do well, but I'm putting this in your chat, gogiverspeaker.com.
Gogiverspeaker.com.
Yeah, and the giver.com/selling. And this one that I just put in, the gogiver.com/selling, that will take them to the free mini course.
Okay, perfect.
Called Selling the Go-Giver Way, which I would suggest they go through before the other one.
Fantastic. Bob, thank you so much for your time, my friend. This was a real treat for me and everybody else online. Again, Bob Burg, co-author of the Go-Giver series, fantastic book, and has impacted millions of lives all around the world. This is the Game Changers live video cast, and we bring on game changers like Bob who have made such an impact on so many people. So again, thanks a lot for being on, my friend.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, take care, guys. And if you want to watch other Game Changer videos, go to gamechangerslive.co, gamechangerslive.co. And next week, we're going to have Tom Ziglar on. So, Bob, I'm going to make sure to get that
Absolutely
out to him. Zig Ziglar's son, who's running the Ziglar empire.
He's done such a wonderful, wonderful job of carrying on his dad's legacy. And he's such a humble, wonderful human being.
That's right. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be next week at 11 a.m., same time, same place on Facebook Live and Zoom. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care, guys.